Rogers, Communications Director at the South Carolina State Library, and I'd like to welcome everyone to an overview of Mobilize. I'm also with Tiffany Hayes. She's our continuing education consultant. She's going to be helping with the mouse and all that good stuff, and also answering questions. This is a fairly brief and straightforward presentation. If you do have any questions, however, along the way, please feel free to go ahead and type them in the question box on the right-hand side, and we'll be happy to try to answer those questions. I'm going to go ahead and just dig right in. It looks like we've got about half of our folks who registered attending. We are recording today's session, so we will post it on our YouTube channel so that folks can refer to it later if they missed out today. But anyway, just to explain a little bit about why we made the transition to Mobilize, we had an old listserv with listserv software, and we decided instead of to upgrade that to look at some other options that were available to us. And Mobilize was one of these options, and we decided to utilize Mobilize. And Mobilize is really a great platform that's web-based so that we can have online discussion groups. So it kind of is a little bit more involved than just a listserv, so that it's more than just email. And that's what we're going to take a look at today. So going from this, this little agenda, and I'm going to try to upload this agenda so that you can look at it, but I've been having trouble with that. It doesn't seem to want to let me do it. Anyway, we can email you this, this handout after the session is over. But I'm going to just go through all of these different talking points, and what I'd like to start with is showing you how the South Carolina State Library online groups page is working. So I'm going to toggle over to that. So here we are at the South Carolina State Library's website, which is statelibrary.sc.gov. And if you click on the Programs and Services menu item, you'll see there's a section that is for libraries here in the middle of the page. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Online Discussion Groups. So, and I'll also enlarge that a little so you can see that better. Let's see. There we go. Hopefully that's better for you to see. Again, if you have any questions throughout, please feel free to type them into the question box. Tiffany is monitoring that, and she can tell me to be quiet and pay attention to your question as we go along. So this page, this is our online discussion groups, and you can see we mentioned that Mobilize is a community social space, member directory, and an outreach center all in one place. And we have transitioned all of our listservs and the listserv email discussion groups over into Mobilize. So you can see as I scroll down the list, we have the continuing education online discussion group, the group for children's services. There is a one-way email announcement group for Discus, South Carolina's virtual library. And some of these you'll notice are one-way announcement groups, so they're really just being used to push out information and not necessarily have a conversation. Here's one, Library Information Technology. That's a discussion group. The Public Library Directors, this is a closed email group, so it's one that we use to push out information to public library directors. We also have Library Public Relations, and this is a group that I'm going to be, that I'm actually the administrator of, that I'll be using today as an example. We also have the Technical Services group, as well as the Young Adult Services group. So with each one of these, all you have to do if you want to join is to click on Register here, and this will take you into Mobilize. And what you can do is just fill it out, first name, last name, email. You can see those have the red asterisk, so they are required items. Then you have your organization name and your job title, and you click continue. And depending on how the administrator has the online discussion group set up, you will either automatically get in or you will have to go through a brief approval process. So I'm going to go on into Mobilize, and actually I'm going to log into my own account. So bear with me just a moment. Hopefully I've remembered my password correctly. So yes, there we go. And let me move this out of the way so I can see the page better. So what we have here, and it looks like my dashboard is slightly out of whack, but that's no problem. So what you have here is when you have logged into your Mobilize account, you can easily create a Mobilize account. You'll see there's a number of, well, as far as I'm concerned, your screen is going to look different, but because I'm a member of a lot of different groups, you're going to see something different on the left on your screen. But you see here it automatically defaulted to continuing education. But if I go down to the SC Library PR, you can see right here I got an additional menu. So if I go back to the continuing education group, I don't have that menu because I'm not an administrator or a manager of that group. So you can see it's not that much difference when you're logged in as an administrator. So I'm going to look back at my agenda and make sure that I am on track. Let's see, I'm going to remind you to watch the promotional video. So when you first go into Mobilize, and I will just go to mobilize.io, one of the things I did want to point out on the main website for Mobilize, their start screen, there's a nice little minute or so video that is a good idea to watch. I'm not going to go ahead and show it here because that takes up a lot of bandwidth while we are doing a webinar. So I would recommend on your own after we're done to go ahead to the mobilize.io website and click on this video so you can get a really good overview of what Mobilize is about. Okay, so looking at, again, our communities, each one of these online groups is a community, and I think that was a difficult thing for me to understand, and I still get confused on that, and I'm going to ask Tiffany, is it a community or a group? I never can remember.
I don't know that I call it either one necessarily. It says groups at the top of this screen, and you can belong to multiple groups.
Right, and that's what's a little bit confusing about it. So bear with us; we're still learning too.
I think that the South Carolina State Library is the community, and the list.
And then each one of these is a group.
Each list is a group.
Okay, so we have the South Carolina State Library community. Then we have each of the groups underneath. So continuing education is a group, library public relations is a group, etc. Thank you, Tiffany. That seems to make sense. So I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit on the screen all of the different things that you can do once you're logged in. So for instance, this is the SC Library PR. And one of the things you'll notice up here in the upper left-hand corner of the screen is, and I'll try to enlarge this, see if that helps any. A little bit better. So in the upper left-hand corner of the group screen, you can see that there is an email, and this is the email address for this group. So if you wanted to use the email function and not go to the website, all you have to do is send an email message to sclibrarypr@groups.mobilize.io. and that way you can communicate with the group without having to go through the website. But if you did want to go through the website, there are a number of functions that you have access to. Right here you can see we have a feed page, and that's going to be automatically defaulted to. And if you wanted to ask a question to all of the group members, you can see in the SC Library PR group there are 51 members. But if I wanted to ask a question, basically what I do is I give it, this top part is the subject, and then all you have to do is add in your question or comment, or if you want to share information. You also have some formatting options. You can upload a file, so if there's a document that you've been working on that maybe you want your colleagues to look at and critique, get some help with, you can also insert an image, and you can also insert links. So this is a real basic way to be able to share information. So if you have subscribed to this group, you would get an email notification with all the information that's been posted here. But if you wanted to look at the web version, after you get that email, there will be a link in that email that will redirect you back to this feed page of the group, so that if you wanted to respond this way, you could. So that's how you post an item for discussion. You can also poll your group members. If you have like a mini survey, you just want to ask a question, you can do that right here. It's very easy to fill that out. Also, if there's an event you wanted to share, you can put all of that information right here. So that's from the feed link. And one of the things that I think is really useful is the ability to see all of the members who are in a group. So if I click on this list of members, you can see we have all of the people who have either been added to from the previous listserv or new folks who have requested to join the online discussion group. So you can go through here, and if I continue to scroll down, for instance, here's Katie Simmons. She's our user experience designer here at the State Library. If I wanted to send her a private chat, I could actually click on the little icon, and it says Conversation with Curtis Rogers and Katie Simmons. And all I have to do down here at the bottom of the screen is type in my message. So it's essentially doing kind of a mini chat session with Katie. So that's one of the nice functions of the membership directory. I'm going to go back a screen, and it doesn't want to seem to put me back a screen. So I'll go back into the members list. I have a few different options that are probably different from what you would see on your end, because I'm an administrator of this group. But you can see I can add members. I can, I think anyone in the group is able to search, but I just have a few different functions that are here. So for instance, if I went into continuing education, where I'm just a member, and I wanted to see, here's the 87 members of this group, you can see I still do have some functions. I could add a different member if I knew someone, or I could search through all of the members, and you can see it says there are 87 members and 2 managers. And then you go down the list, and you can see everyone listed right here. And there's Tiffany. She's our continuing education consultant.
That's actually me subscribed as my personal.
Okay, so this was from your personal email account. All right.
Subscribed twice, once as the manager and once as a.
I got you. So you can see how other people see. So anyway, here you go. This is the list of members, and that's very helpful. I'm going to go back to the SC Library PR group, and let me go back and check my list of things to talk about. We've talked about the lounge feed, the members, events, files, adding a new discussion, poll, event, And we've also talked about using the email portion and also where that email address is, and also how to message or chat from the membership directory of an individual group. So this actually went by really quickly. I guess I would like to go ahead and open it up for discussion. If anyone has any questions that you would like to ask, over on the right-hand side, you can type in a question into the question box, and we can certainly try to answer that. While folks are thinking of questions, there's also over here on the left, you can see this is groups, and then this is chat. So see, I had started that chat session with Katie, so all of my individual chats are going to show up over here on the left-hand side. Then I click on groups, and that's my list of groups. And one of the nice things about these group feeds is that you don't have to go back through all your old emails, or you may have deleted an old email or something that you saw posted in the group. You can just go back to the group feed and scroll down and find whichever announcement or discussion topic was brought up. So that's helpful. You can also search all of the posts. Right here, if you remember there was something unique about a post that someone did, then you can just keyword search all of the posts this way, which is a whole lot easier than having to go through your deleted emails. And I speak from experience. Well, I don't see any questions coming through. Tiffany, is there anything that I maybe failed to mention or didn't cover? I know this was the basics.
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing any questions, so
okay. Yeah, well, I think we probably have covered everything. So not seeing any questions, we appreciate your attendance today at this webinar on how to use Mobilize for our online discussion groups. And again, please feel free to visit our website. You can join as many groups as you want. If you have any ideas on additional groups, we would look into creating those, so certainly feel free to ask. And I hope this has been helpful. So we'll go ahead and wrap up for today. So thanks so much for attending.